Here's how I tripled my income as a software engineer. So in my very first software engineering job that I worked, I was a backend engineer working for a local e-commerce company, and I was getting paid on a 1099 contract, making $35,000 a year. Within a few years of that, I was able to go from making $35,000 a year to just over $500,000 a year. And I did all of this without a college degree and without any kind of fancy certifications. The top 2 tips that I can give to you for making more money as a software engineer is, number 1, continuing to level up the developer skills that you have, because it makes you more marketable. So when I first got into software engineering, I just started with front-end development. So I learned HTML and CSS. It's enough to be able to do static web pages, which is what I started doing when I first got into coding. But I quickly realized that it takes a lot more than HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in order to have a fully functioning software web application or a mobile application. And so I had to learn backend development. So I picked up Node.js, which is JavaScript on the backend, and I learned how to do MongoDB as well as SQL. And then I started learning about all kinds of authentication and how to set up API routes, how to handle cybersecurity and cryptography, how to do hashing. So all just continuing to learn. And through learning more and more skills and more languages, I eventually branched out into learning C# and .NET. I also picked up Golang and even started learning Rust. I learned how to do cloud computing services like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Computing, Vercel. And in the recent years, I've learned how to work with AI agents using Claude, Agentic AI SDK. I also use Vercel's AI SDK. And so the pattern is just continuing to learn. And so the more skills that I've been able to learn and accumulate over the years, that's correlated directly to the number of jobs that I'm able to work and how I'm able to market myself. Because when recruiters reach out to me online or companies reach out saying that they need software built, if I have more technology or tools in my tool belt, then I have a higher likelihood of being able to solve or fix whatever particular problem they have, which at the end of the day is what you're getting paid for. Nobody really cares about the number of languages that you know. What they really want to know is, can you fix their problem? But being familiar with more tools and having depth of knowledge, not just knowing how to write hello world in all of the different programming languages, but if you can get deep knowledge, understand design patterns, learn your data structures and your algorithms, it'll really help you to be able to solve a wide array of problems. So accumulate skills because they'll make you more valuable, which means companies will be willing to pay you more. The second thing is who it is that you're putting yourself in front of. So I'll tell you a story. Before I had ever made $100,000 as a software engineer, earlier in my software developer career, I was working for a company where I was making about $50,000 a year. And so I told myself, I was like, I'm going to see how much of a jump I'm able to make just by switching jobs, because I had done the research and found out that you can essentially make more money by switching jobs than you can by just getting a raise at the same place. And so I applied to a number of places. The current job that I'm at the time was paying me $50,000 a year to be a software engineer. And I spoke on the phone with one company. I want to say it might have been Boeing. The recruiter asked me, she goes, what kind of a pay range are you looking for? And I believe I said $80,000 a year. So it would have been like a $30K jump. And she was like, oh, with your experience, I'm not really sure if that fits. If you had more years of experience, I'd be willing to do that. But that's asking for a lot. So I was like, oh, damn. Well, I was like, okay, that sucks. But hey, I can't blame me for trying. That week, there was a cybersecurity startup that I ended up going on to work for. But I asked the guy, and he was like, how much are you looking to make? And I think I told him, it was either 80,000 or 90,000. I told him the same thing. And he was like, oh yeah, cool, done. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I remember how much of a stark contrast it was. And it just stood out to me. So my resume is exactly the same. My experience is exactly the same. I presented it to one person and they were like, I don't think that you're worth that. I presented it to another person. And I think my skill set probably aligned better with what the cybersecurity company was looking for than what the first company was looking for. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. No questions asked. It wasn't even a negotiation. So I made an additional $30,000 instantly, not by changing the information that I had, but just by changing who it was that I was presenting my skill set to. Sometimes it's not even a problem of your skill set. Sometimes it's a problem of marketing, which is who are you, which company are you applying to? Are you presenting your resume to highlight your strengths? I once met with a guy who he had bootstrapped his own tech startup and was profitable to the tune of $2,000 a month, which is, it's not yacht money, but it's also better than what most tech startups end up doing. I was helping him to revamp his resume, and the way that he put that on his resume was, he was a web developer. And I was like, bro, are you serious? You're fumbling the bag right now. Number two, you want to make sure that you are marketing yourself and presenting your skills and your skill set that you have to as many companies and recruiters as possible, but also to the right ones. So if you are a guy who has a ton of experience with Node.js and JavaScript, probably shouldn't be applying to C and C# jobs, you can, and you could also pick up that language and learn it. But if you want to capitalize on the skill set that you have today, then you want to apply for jobs that align with your skill set as it currently exists today, while also continuing to learn. And you can upgrade your skills on things like Pluralsight. You can do it by doing community projects or building your own side project, constantly staying up to date with what's going on in tech news, and trying to just make sure that you have a learning mindset and that you're always learning. The other thing that I would do is try to garner as much experience as you possibly can as quick as possible, because everybody's always, how do I get my first software engineering job, when every single job that I apply to that's supposedly for a junior level or entry level developer requires 10 years of experience? Great question. The easiest way and the best way and the most effective way to do this is to simply work for free for other people until you garner enough experience that companies are willing to pay you. Will it suck because you're not getting paid money yet? Yes, but it will be worth it, because by doing that, you're able to get money. Instead of thinking of it as working for free, you should think of it as you're being trained. It's no different than going to college. Not only do you not get paid when you're going to college, but you pay the college for 4 to 5 years so that you can get your bachelor's degree, or for even longer if you go for a higher level degree. And so this is no different. We accept that as normal. So you should have the exact same mindset when it comes to this. So when I wanted to transition into more leadership roles in technology, when I got my first CTO role, I went to a website called indiehackers.com, and I simply made a post on there, and I was like, hey, here's my skill set, here's my LinkedIn, here's work that I've done before, here's what I can do. I'm willing to help you build your MVP, right? Your initial product that you have, the proof of concept, for free. And I think a day or two, I had 30, 40 companies reach out to me. You can do something very similar. You can go to that exact same website. You can reach out to people on Reddit. You can go in Discord communities, whatever. There's no shortage of people who have technical ideas, who do not have technical experience, especially in the founder world. And so reach out to those people, offer to work for free, and you will be trading your time in exchange for, you get to work with other people, you get to put experience on your resume, you get to build skills, and worst case scenario, you get a ton of experience on your resume and you become a seasoned developer. Best case scenario, some of those companies actually pop off and then it turns into a paid deal, because if you're working as an engineer, you help them build a profitable product, they're much more likely to hire you and start paying you and cutting you a check, as opposed to somebody that they do not know. So that's what I would do. Those are my tips. Let me know what your experience has been like with trying to improve your income as a developer down in the comments below. See you guys next time.